Adventures in Podcasting.
Hi, I'm Imani Wilson, and welcome to another episode of Adventures in Podcasting. So, for today's episode, it ultimately starts off with the simple question, are you an artist? So, before I go into the story and how everything unfurls, I guess a little bit of a backdrop should always help. It was a Monday morning, running late for an impromptu meeting at work. I called an Uber cab to get there ASAP.
Call your ass a Uber, I got somewhere to be.
From there, it's always random who you might get in those encounters. But what I gained from the cab pickup was a pretty good introspective on being an artist. Oh, mind you, please don't mind the audio. I used my phone instead of my USB mic. It wouldn't be the first time, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be the last. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Adventures in Podcasting. This is your host, Imani Wilson. With me today, well, I should say more so, I'm definitely on the road. I have the pleasure of meeting with he just handed me his card, Lewis Watson. Nice to meet you, Mr. Watson.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Now, you may be wondering how me and Mr. Watson have just found ourselves being acquainted. I was on my way to work, for a impromptu meeting, so I called a Uber cab, and I happened to be blessed enough to be able to have him as my, driver this morning. So we were just speaking as far as, what field of line I worked in, and when he handed me his card, I had no idea that he actually was a vocalist and a pianist. That's pretty awesome there, Lewis.
That's what I do.
Absolutely. How long have you been working as a musician?
Oh, probably most of my life.
Okay.
Yeah, good 30, 40 years easily.
Nice. And prior to our conversation, we were just mentioning, because I mentioned to him that I had a specialty, more so just my experience working in multimedia. And he had asked as far as for what platform that I prefer to use as far as creating, as far as jobs, just what was my actual preference. And we were just sitting here speaking on the lines, and the main gist of it is whatever that works. Most people will utilize, let's say, maybe iOS and Mac software. Others prefer Windows. You even have some that prefer Linux, which is its own independent source as far as an operating system is concerned, a lot more open as well. But I think, honestly, it just speaks to the idea of creativity and what drives your creativity. So, needless to say, I'm thinking to myself now, as I've been trying to really strike while the iron is hot, I found myself with my creativity being hindered. As an artist, I'm sure you've found yourself also, being up against that wall. What would you say are some, I guess, tips, tricks, and just overall tools of the trade that have helped you to really induce your creativity?
Well, I find that what the most important thing is to center yourself. I do meditate, center yourself, and just be persistent, because creativity really comes through restrictions.
Okay.
In other words, if you have too much freedom creates chaos.
Right.
So restrictions force creativity. So a lot of times when you're constricted, the challenge is just to burst through. Setting goals helps a lot. In other words, I'm going to write or produce or whatever by this day, and just walk through the fire.
Right. Nice. No, I absolutely can appreciate that, because I myself am one of those artists who, I would say, I've gotten over the point of, okay, I'm having a bad day, so I'm just not going to do anything at all. I've gotten past that phase where, any, let's say, negative emotion or personal happening may take you out of it. I think it's just being able to reassess a certain amount of focus. It's more so than anything. Like for me now, I've been compiling all of my, content, and this may be me sort of, pulling behind the curtain at this point, but I've been purposely compiling as much content as possible, so that way I can then put it together and then have it as a compilation versus just one week going, oh, check this out, check this out, check this out, and then the following week I'm now pressured to go, oh God, I need to now get more content. I need to produce more. It needs to be better than last week's. So, I can definitely appreciate that. What do you think you could suggest as far as the people who are lacking that follow through or lacking that concentration to be able to focus and close those other things out?
I think goals are very important because, and realizing and recognizing that your thoughts are not always your friends.
Your thoughts are not always your friends. This piece of information I found to be vitally important. As someone who has dealt and occasionally deals with anxiety or pessimistic thoughts, I found that anecdote to be profound in my later reflections. I think I'll have to revisit that importance on the energy one's thoughts have on a later date. But to continue.
Your thoughts are really not your friends. A lot of times they will play tricks on you. So having a goal and a focus sort of keeps you on the road.
Okay.
And that's an ongoing thing. I mean, I'm not always good at it, but once you snap out of it, like, man, why didn't I do that before?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I've just been trying, like little things. Like, I'll tell myself each day, no matter how you can manage it, no matter what the avenue, tell a story. Just tell a very, very small story. Even if it's on one of these little social networking apps, be that storyteller, because that's what's going to continue to give you that fuel and continue to fan the flames that is, being an artist. Like, for me, my biggest aspiration is to be a film director. Like, movies are my lifeblood. Not most movies nowadays, but more classical contemporary films are more so my lifeblood. So yeah, I think it is important to try to set those restrictions. I guess just a very generalized question, if you don't mind me asking. So where are you from originally?
I was born in the West Indies. I was born in Jamaica.
Okay.
I went to high school in Piscataway.
Okay.
I've lived all over Brooklyn, but I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of tours around the world.
Right.
So
nice.
It's always helpful to look at yourself from the outside, and I think traveling and seeing other people and cultures helps you see yourself and your world in a different way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right. If anything, I remember being told a long time ago, it's like, hey, listen, you should yearn to want to travel more, because the more you see, the more you experience, the more you can actually tell. Like, honestly, the best stories are told from a perspective that, understands them. It's like, ultimately, I'm not, like, I can't sit here and come up with a story about some military strategist, because I haven't been around military strategists, or I've never, necessarily served any form of military. So I think it is important to keep yourself well-rounded and well-traveled for the different, companions that you meet, the different adventures that you go on. Now, I guess it's also important to ask, because this is, I guess, the long-standing debate, and I know times change and things change as well. Would you say that it's best to be self-taught in whatever your craft, or would you say that going the trained and I guess it mostly translates to self-taught versus school-taught?
I don't think we can limit it to either or. I think there's so many places to learn. Like, I still study.
Okay.
Not in the school, but I study privately. And what I find about that versus because I've self-taught for quite a while, but your perspectives are limited to your perspectives, and the more you experience other people's ways of getting around things, it expands your palette.
Right.
So I think learning in general, whether you're teaching yourself, learning from others, learning from schools, learning from private teachers, I think just to develop the thirst.
Right here. Sorry about that.
Just the thirst for knowledge and the thirst for learning, and find your learning in?
You can go up a little bit more. It's the left after this, and then after that, there's another right. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Left and then right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really developing a love for learning, and then once you develop that love, you don't really care where the learning comes from.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, honestly. It always comes back to the fundamentals of being a student and feeling like there's always something you could learn.
You're a student for life. One of the problems with getting a formal education is once you get it in here.
Yeah, sure.
Once you get it, you think you've learned it.
Right, exactly. That's
nothing could be further from the truth.
It's a grand misconception most people have. Yeah. Absolutely. You mind if I actually keep this car, Lou?
I'll have this yours.
Okay, perfect. Well, honestly, I guess this is exactly where you leave me. If anything, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Definitely.
Needless to say, I came away with yet another lesson, piece of information, and a story to tell on this little adventure of mine. Be it at an Uber running late, somewhere with friends, new friends, or a stranger doesn't know that we're friends yet. I had to think later on the fact that for as long as you live, you'll never really stop learning. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening.
Okay, kid. Say what you gotta say.
Okay, look, I'm gonna need you to pay close attention, okay? I can't really explain, so I just need you to pay very, very close attention. This has been another Rebel Science Media podcast. This, again, is Rebel Science Radio. You can check out more like it at soundcloud.com/Rebel Science Radio. Again, that's Rebel Science. REBELSANCE. I'll explain later, okay? Thanks.